Okay, finally, we're here. Woohoo! All right, so that was exercise in futility. So, all right, so what I'm planning to do today is do just a quick demo. It's supposed to be quick. I'm gonna do a quick demo of how to prepare this for travel. As you can see here, this is the X case. It's got this is actually a stack of 8 cases that you see right here. It's got 5 cases filled with paint and a couple of supplies and one with minis. Now, I'm planning to travel this next weekend, and I do like to take my painting supplies with me so I can actually do some painting. I'll be traveling actually for about a week, so long enough that I'm going to want to sit down every now and then. I'm sure of it, and just do some painting, just burn some time, and make some progress on a couple of minis that I'm working on. But we are going to be on an airplane. We do have to travel, and the X case does work for travel. However, it has to be a carry-on. Yep, I do not recommend you're handing these cases to the baggage handler. Certainly not just as is. You want to just put them together, a nice little case, and hand it to a baggage handler and wrap a tag on it and say, here you go. That's a bad plan. As much as I love the X case, as much as I say I can do just about anything, tossing it around, throwing it on baggage, bad plan. So you can put it in a box, wrap it up, and send it that way. However, or a suitcase, whatever you want to do, or pad it up. But remember, your minis are in there with magnets. There is nothing holding the stuff inside the case other than the magnets in your minis. So if you're traveling and you're putting them on a plane, know that if they're flipping them, tossing them, whatever, your minis probably going to come off. Doesn't matter how strong your earth magnets are. Um, Most likely there's going to be minis that move around. Now you can put cushion in there. I have taken foam and stuck one in the back, lined up a bunch of minis in front of it, put another piece in front, and it holds them in place great. But you're turning it into a foam case for that, and you have to actually get foam for it, and you won't be able to have the same configuration. So basically, if you really want to hand them to the baggage handler, go with the foam cases. That's the only time you'll ever hear it come out of my mouth, is if you gotta give it to the baggage handler, use the foam cases. It's the only way to really protect them when they're being tossed around, because you need them to stay exactly in the same spot. Beyond that, the X case is better. Gotta say. Now, yes, that's my unbiased opinion, but here's the deal: the X case does a lot of things that foam can do. One, your minis don't get touched by the foam, so your paint's not going to get rubbed off. You're not going to have those kind of issues. Two, you can put them in any configuration you want. You don't care about where they are. Plus, they're clear. If they have clear front doors, you can get to them. So all of that. So I'm not here to really sell you the X case. I'm assuming that if you decide to check this video out, that you already kind of have an idea what it is, and you're curious how it works and how that kind of thing goes. And this is another video to kind of show you how to do that. And prepping for travel. The best way to do it is as a carry-on. Now, airlines usually have size limitations. So you want to kind of keep it down within their size limitations. And what that generally means is that about the biggest case you can do is probably 6. That's 2 by 2 by 2 is the best way to do it. 6 units. Now, keep in mind with TSA and all of the rules that TSA has, you have to actually limit your paints as well. So if you want to take a lot of paint in those 6 cases, the most you can do, the limitation I ran into, is 1 quart bag, a 1 quart bag of paints. That's all you're going to carry in your cases. That's going to carry on with you. The rest of the paints that you're going to want, I recommend putting them in freezer bags and stick them in your suitcase. The freezer bags will protect your stuff in case any of the bottles leak. That's the best way to handle that situation. So what I usually do is, the general rule of thumb, about 1 quart of paints, or 1 quart freezer bag of paints is 1/2 of an X case. So about 18 bottles. You can generally get that into one of the units. So that said, what's traveling with you on the plane itself might have some extra space, because you're going to want to put your paints back in there when you're traveling around your local, in the convention center, at your local travel stop, wherever that happens to be. So you're not going to have all your space taken up in the traveling. I am not going to pack this up in the final form. In other words, I'm not putting all my paints in the 1-quart bag yet, just yet. I'm not doing that until I'm about ready to leave. But I will limit what you probably want to do is, if you think you might want to be if you're going to be sitting around at the airport, think about giving yourself a variety of paints. Paints that you're working on. Maybe you have a mini in there that you know you want to work on a little bit, that if you have some time, you're sitting around at the airport and you want to pop out the X case and the little lights. Okay, so these are one of the lights I use. I always like to keep these charged up. You fold them up. I have 2 of these. They fit perfectly within the X case. You put them down on the table or wherever you're sitting. You can clip them onto the edge of a table, onto the arms of a chair, whatever you happen to be working on. And these will create some excellent spotlight for you. They are reasonably bright. Once you put them onto your minis, you'll be good to go. Now, if you also carry in one of your, now there's 2 things you can do. You carry on, there's 2 things you have to carry on to your flight separately. If you like to use these will also work. I believe they also fit within the X case. Once folded all the way up, you can get them in there as well. So you put them in there, with your lights, and you'll have plenty of light because they provide their own light. So you'll have plenty of light to actually do your painting in a small area on the fly, transported within the X case. So let's start out. So this is my current case, 4 by 4, 8 units, and so I have a lot of miscellaneous stuff. I don't need to carry everything you see here. I won't be doing a lot of my normal tool stuff. Now, one of the things you could do is, knowing that this has to come down to a fewer number of cases, you can create like a side or a travel case, if that's what you want to do. If you think you'll be traveling a lot, maybe it's a good idea, have a travel case ready. I probably won't be doing any drilling, so I don't need my little drill bits there. Sometimes having a little X-Acto knife is nice, but remember, TSA, no. If you want to take any kind of an X-Acto blade with you, you can sometimes get away with putting it on one of the inside cases that closes up, and you put it behind other stuff. Maybe they won't notice it, but I don't recommend it. Put it in your suitcase. They will take these and confiscate it, or you'll have to toss it once you get to the airport. So now I am actually just taking a few things out. I'm going to leave them on my table here because this is my work spot at home and I don't need it at the moment. And for now, I just want to get the basics ready to go for the trip. So first things I want to do is I want to take my lights. These I know I'm going to be using pretty much anywhere I want to sit. This way, whatever your lighting situation is, you have enough light. Is crucial because painting requires good lighting. For most of us, some people can get by on a little bit less. Now these will fit in here, I believe. But if you want to make it easier, you can take off the lens. But let's see if that's even necessary. Nope, looks like we're good. They'll fit right in there. Though maybe it might be better to. It might be better to take the lens off because this needs to fold down a little farther to be happy in the X case. Well, actually, you know what? Maybe not. So I haven't done this one yet. This is a new piece of travel for me. I usually have just, in the past, when I did this, I just threw these in my carry-on bag. So you're allowed 2 things when you travel onto an airplane. Personal item, whatever that happens to be, which is this, and 1 bag, a personal bag or whatever. So you can do this. I am trying some, I know this fits. I can sense it. I've never tried it, but I'm sure it fits. It's all about understanding the metrics of it. Oh, maybe I'm wrong. It could be just a tad too short. Oh, nope, there you go. Alright, so that's the way to do it. You flip it over on its back and it will work. In fact, that might even allow you to do this. The reason this works, and it's only because of the shape of this particular it's only because of the shape of this particular light, so I probably wouldn't expect this to work anywhere else with any other light. It's got an angle on it. When you push it up, it pushes up on the light, and you can clamp it shut, and it'll push your lights in. So now I've got all set of my lights. Now I like to take at least one unit with some minis in it. That's kind of my primary objective. This is my clear case, the one I get to walk around with, having it displayed out. That's going to be my other case. Now, oftentimes what I'll do is I'll reduce that down to just a few less items, because I don't need that many minis when I'm on the road. So the reason I take a little less is that allows me to carry a few extra items in there, like possibly my wet pallets, or because remember, the ultimate goal here is to reduce as much as you can down to just the 6 cases. Now I have 8. I need to turn that into 6. So I do like to take some glue. Always nice to have some super glue with me. So I can either put some in here with my lights. I'm going to go ahead and take this off just because I feel like it's a little bit better fit without it on. And now those lights, they come with multiple lenses. Obviously, I don't recommend taking all lenses unless you feel like you're going to be changing them out. Okay, so for me, I have wet pallets. These are my mini wet pallets. I stick them into the cases as well. Now again, I don't take very many, but I do like to take at least 2 wet pallets, a stack of 3. This allows me to take, I have my pre-cut sponges on the inside, and I also have some parchment paper already pre-cut. So that allows me to have, just in case I need to change out so I got some paper towel in there for drying up my brushes. Got some sponges and some parchment paper. I don't have a need for any of this. This is just another container I use for basing, that kind of thing. My units don't have any need for bases right now, so again, don't need it. I will take this as a simple 3-stack of small travel cases. They slide right in there. So now I've got my parchment ready to go, or my wet pallets ready to go. Now additionally, these are my my water. They seal up. One's just a clean water, and one's my rinse bottle. Now, of course, everybody has their own little tools and things that they can use for that kind of thing, but you know, small bottles like this work pretty well for me. This is actually just something I found. They're little jam bottles. But again, there's plenty of things out there that work the same. We don't actually have those bottles or those little mini paint palettes, although at some point we may offer the cases for them. You set them up yourself. Those are just official paint palette sponges. I just cut them down to size to fit my cases in particular. Okay, so additionally, I don't need any of this. This is just some basic reduction that won't be necessary while I'm traveling. I will always take, in my case, I take the X case business cards. Now, you might ask, you might, maybe not, the X case, where can you get it? What's it all about? The Active Minds Games is our website. However, at this time, we are working towards getting another production run done. We are all out of cases. But so we are promoting, trying to show off X-Case 2.0. X-Case 2.0 is the new clear cases. They're a lot more. They're actually more clear than the current X cases. They are also more durable, quite a bit. They can be made of polycarbonate versus ABS. Polycarbonate cases, high impact resiliency, so you can be a lot more confident in the way they're going to hold up during travel. Now, if you drop them, I've dropped them on concrete. I even threw one across the floor, bam, 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 bounced all over the place, made a ton of racket, but came out of it fine. Do keep in mind though, the doors are removable. You drop the units down, the doors could pop off. They do come off. So again, not great for throwing them down or dropping them places, but the cases will hold up. You can put them back together is basically what happens. During travel, you have, so I'm going to reconfigure this. So when I have to put paints back, decide on my half unit, my half case units. Now we do sell multiple cases colors. All of them are going to be polycarbonate in the future. The plan is that we're going to have polycarbonate units that are both clear and opaque. Our previous opaque ones were all ABS. We're going full on polycarbonate. That's the plan anyway. Now, full-on polycarbonate cases do cost a little bit more. They're actually going to run a few dollars more per unit, but I think in the long run they'll be a lot more long-term resilience for whatever purpose you might have. Now you can see behind me the X case is all over our wall. So this is set up with things that aren't even my painted miniatures. This is, we've got Star Wars, we got my, I'm a big Broncos fan. I got a lot of Broncos miniatures in here, from the little Oyos and the Lego type figures, Hot Wheels, my running medals. The X case is all encompassing for miniature collectibles. Anything that's 3.5 inches or shorter and 2.5 inches wide or narrower, you can pretty much put them in there. In fact, even some Funko units, Funko Pops will fit in there. I do not recommend it for all your Funko because it won't fit all your Funko. The taller guys on flight bases, the guys that are standing tall and have hats and stuff, not going to work. Really, it's for the Funkos. It works for a few of them. I have a couple in here. I don't know if you can see them, but if they're squatting down or they're kind of hunched down, those Funkos will fit. It's a small percentage, probably 30, maybe 20 to 30% tops. That might even be generous. The newer units that we have, a couple things. They're polycarbonate, like I said. Also, they're going to have fewer holes in them. A couple of the holes are designed in there for the unit, so so the units can be easily extruded from the mold, from the injection mold. However, turns out we don't need them to be all there. The two biggest holes on the top are not going to go all the way through anymore. They only go halfway through, which means now they cut off all dust coming in from those holes, and therefore reduce the amount of dust that ends up inside of your case while it's on display. So this is the X case, 8 units. When you put them together, you just slide them together, take the handle off, you push down on the handle, pull forward, and pop it open like that. So then you just slide it back in, turning it the other way, and now your unit is fully transportable. But like I said, this is great for going to the local shop, but not so great for airport, because this will not fit in the overhead bin of any airport unless you want to lie it down. And I do not recommend lying it down, because again, your minis are in there sitting upright, and the magnets are going to be under pressure to keep things on them while it's lying on its side. You don't want to do that unnecessarily. Now you can take an extra unit stack and put them here. You can have 12 or 16 or however how many you really feel like carrying around with you. The most I've taken with me to local shops in general is 12. I have carried 20 units all together, all with stuff in them. Not generally full of paints, but like with miniatures, mostly miniatures for displays, that sort of thing. But a case of 20 is 4 cases of 5 or 5 cases of 4, however you want, or 5 stacks of 4 or 4 cases of 5. Either way, it's a big container to carry. Can be done. It's pretty heavy. It's pretty unwieldy for walking around an entire convention hall. You can do that. I recommend carrying one of those little hand trucks if you're really going to do that and carry it that way. But for me, it was carrying it to and from a convention hall to my car and back. It worked. But, so like I said, I don't necessarily recommend that. Now remember, one of the things, the advantage is, the reason that's even doable is because the way the X case is designed, the handles actually overlap each other. So you're able to carry 2 handles, or if you have an extra stack here, you can actually hold on to 3 handles, which means you're holding on to 3 different handles that distribute their weight over 4 cases. So there's a lot of coverage there. So if you're doing 4 cases of 5, every single one of the handles, or every single one of the cases, in some way being supported by you holding the handles. So they're not one of them is actually fully supporting the weight. No one handle is holding all the weight of an X case of your stack. Now you can try that, but again, that's putting a lot of weight on these handles, and I wouldn't recommend doing it with just one handle. The multiple stack handles is intentional to provide you additional support. These can be broke. It takes a lot of weight to break them. Again, I haven't tried polycarbonate handles. These ones are designed to be very strong and resilient. You can see that the way they are set up, that they will actually hold quite a bit of weight. But again, I don't recommend it. They have locking mechanisms, so they won't slide out of your cases. All the newer X cases have them. So some of the early Mage cages that we used to have did not have these hooks, and with heavy weight, they could actually pop out. Doesn't happen anymore. So all of the newer X cases, all the X cases that, in fact, I think all X cases have the hooks in them. Only the older Mage cages did not. And you could even use these in those, except for their hook mechanisms did not hook into the basis of those. So if you have any of those, just advances and designs to try to make the cases better, which is what we do on every single new release. Now, one of the things you'll note, I don't know if you can see it from there, is the back of our cases now have a teardrop mount on them. All of I believe all of the X cases that we've had, and since the last iteration, have these teardrop designs. We do have the little screw packs that go with those that you can actually mount them on the wall. You could do it. The old original ones we had only have holes. Some of the older ones only have a single hole that you can still screw through and put it on the wall. It did make it kind of permanent on the wall. The teardrop design allows you to have none of your cases have to be fully attached to the wall. They can just hook onto your screws as long as you mount them correctly, and then you can just pop them off the wall, head off, and go. It used to be that you had to mount one, and then only the ones that you snapped onto the bottom could go with you without having to unmount them from the wall, take the screws out. You don't have to do that anymore. The new teardrop design allows you just to hook whatever cases you want on the wall for display, and then later on you just take them down when you need to. Okay, so again, it's about bringing this down to a nice, easy, airport-friendly travel size. So the way we're going to do that is we just need to make 6 units. Make these cases into 3 sets of 2 instead of 2 sets of 4. Which means we do have to give up a couple of cases, which is fine. I mean, for travel, you've got to learn to reduce, right? So I find just means I have to leave some paints behind, because you don't usually need all your paints, especially if all you're doing is a short trip. You can always take more paints, or you can always take more cases. I believe it's actually feasible to do 8. You could do 2 by 2 by 2 by 2, and it'll still fit in the airline overhead compartment, and I'll tell you why. Because the way they are designed, now it's typically 14 by 22. What you've got here is about 15. That doesn't mean they don't fit, but that's just the size they tell you. So it does kind of go over the rules, but if they measure it, you may have an issue. But I've never had it measured. You go in, you know, they can see that it's small. That's what they're really going for. They don't want you coming in there with some ginormous box that's going to take up all the overhead compartment, and that's what they're really concerned about. you go. So this is your 2x2x2. Just take your handles, cross them over, and you're good to go. Now, obviously, if you really want to show off your minis, you put the minis on the outside. I didn't do that. It's not really a key importance for this demo. But you put the minis on the outside. And I'll tell you what, a lot of the TSA guys will see those minis and they'll just go, ooh, ah, they'll be looking at your cool minis and what you've got in there. And they're not going to make a big deal. So you put the big bulky stuff on the outside. If they really want to see what's inside, they'll ask you how to open it. You'll open it up. It's easy enough. You just open it up and let them see that you've got, you've got a few extra bottles of paint, you got some extra supplies. Most of the times they're not going to care. But again, do not overfill these. They do not like you to have it full. You're only allowed a quart. So a half of one of these is all you get for paints while you travel. So that'll get you past TSA. Again, what I usually do is have my little paper here. I can roll it up. I stick it in there with my supplies. And just kind of keep yourself down to a minimum on that, and you'll be all good to go, ready for travel. Now, when is the X case going to be available again? We're hoping within a year. But we have a Patreon going. If you want to see the X case succeed, do go check out Active Minds Gamer on Patreon. And we have some things on there. We're gonna try to give kind of like, we're running it a little bit like a long-term Kickstarter, a little bit. If you want us to get new products out, get these new things out. We do have some plans for some pretty cool inserts that'll allow you to carry dice and other things. We already have designs for those. In fact, we've got some demos of those as well, which I'll do another video for later. We've got inserts for shelving that you can actually put the little drawers underneath it that we've designed for them. Configurable, so you can put your minis so they stand upright. We have the X Case XL, super cool, double by 2x2 unit sized, 2x2 sized unit that will hold big minis all the way up to, well, whatever the height of UC2 of these would be in the depth of double, so you can put big things in there. Our divider, our shelving units will be able to be used to create shelves inside there, so you could actually create big, a double layer for smaller things like tanks that are short but stocky. So yeah, we got a lot of great ideas and a lot of great plans, things that have already been designed and partially ready to go. We just need to get them launched. So we're going to launch them on Kickstarter. So a lot of those inserts and stuff will be stretch goals for the original X Case, for the X Case 2.0, which is the nicer, new, more durable version of the X Case, along with a couple of the new enhanced features. And then the X Case XL will be one of our biggest stretch goals. But both of these items are going to take the first X Case Kickstarter, just for a heads up, is going to have a dollar amount around $20,000. The Patreon that we are running to allow us to try to get that Kickstarter launched and get some followers going, all that money is going towards either some amount of production preparation, like some X Case XL finishing design work, so that we can get it ready for mold. Also, it's a little bit of marketing to get more people on board to try to get get the Kickstarter its best chance of success. But ultimately, if we get enough money and we get past those points and we're closing in, we will actually just use that money, whatever's left, to reduce the size of the Kickstarter. So if our first X Case 2.0 Kickstarter needs $20,000 to complete and we manage to get $10,000 out of Patreon, we'll run the Kickstarter at $10,000, allowing for all stretch goals to be at a lower limit as well. So come join us, come check those things out, and back us. And the Patreons are going to get units as well. We do have set up for, as people who back us on Patreon want to come and check those out, want to help out, they too will get units at the end of when we're ready to launch. Now, how many, how much, like I said, we're running it a little bit like a Kickstarter, but at the same time, a lot of stuff is preparatory goals, which means we have to offset some expenses, and we're hoping that you'll just come with us and help us out on that stuff. And of course, you will be rewarded with units. Probably up to 80% of what you backed us with on Patreon will come back to you in some form of units by the time we launch and get these things out the door. So there's it's a good way to get units in advance while helping us get there quicker. Right now, the plan is, or the goal is, to get enough uh, followers, enough interest that we can launch around May or June. We don't really want to launch sooner anyway. Even if suddenly things blew up, probably still wouldn't want to do it until then. Partly because it's not because we can't get it going or whatever. Production is done overseas. Can't help it. It's cheaper overseas, but shipping is terrible. Shipping has gone out all through the roof. It's a mess. It's delayed out months and months and months, and we're hoping things will start to get better by next year. And this way we can make better predictions and promises for delivery dates. We're looking at up to double in time. So I mean, and cost. We're hearing people saying things like, if it's normally 1,500, it'll be closer to 3,000. If it's normally 6 weeks, it could be closer to 3 months. For whatever those things are, you just got to double it, and that's a long wait. So we're hoping things will get better. COVID's been kind of an issue, and so bear with us as we try to weather this tough time as far as the whole world's situation as we recover from COVID. But also, we do want to get these out to you. We will get them out to you. Just how long? I know it's been a few years since we've actually had a full stock. We recently sold through. We're down to just a few units of a couple of different colors. We don't have really any clear ones anymore. The only ones we had were the slightly more brittle ABS ones, and we're not selling the last couple of dozen because we don't want to really put those out in the market anymore, because we find that they just aren't very strong for transportable use. For display, they're great. We have a number of them up here. And they'll last forever up there because they're not under pressure anymore. No strain. Snapped on vertical holds, they're great, but if you're going to keep snapping them and popping them, they tend to wear out. So these units here are the newer ones. You can see, since the fact that this one's kind of dusty, it is quite a bit more clear than the original units, or than the original clear ones. They have a very nice, they got a little bit of the injection mold markings and stuff that you get. That's just what you expect from clear. But you can see all the way through these units. This here is a shelving. You can see the way that this particular unit is holding some minis that are up in the air. It's because it's got our prototype shelving unit inside. Underneath here actually holds the little drawers that hold dice and those kind of tokens. We've got the design set up so you could actually put a big box or a small box in there, so you can put bigger tokens, things like spinner dials and those things that would go with other games. Lots of ways to configure it, lots of ways to get your various games and varieties of items ready for your transport and traveling. And we hope that you'll come and check us out. Come to our Patreon and back us there, or just follow our YouTube, our Twitter. Twitter is Active Minds Game or Active Minds Gamer. They're both valid. One's me specifically, Ken Romero, and one is Active Minds Games Company, where we will keep people up to date on the progress of things. And I personally, when I run different things, painting, gaming, promotions that I do on my own, those go to Active Minds Gamer. Both exist, both on YouTube and Facebook. Well, Facebook is Active Minds Games is our Facebook page. Active Minds Gamer is on Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. And then Active Minds Gamer is also we have Fit for Future on Twitch and Active Minds Games on Twitch. We don't typically use those too much for Active Minds Game stuff. We use YouTube. But Fit for Future will link as well. I do painting and a variety of other little activities using that account. So, hey, check this out. Please leave comments. Instant message me. Instant message Active Minds Games. Let us know what you think. If you have any questions, feel free to send them along. We'll reply to you as quick as we can. You can reply to on our Facebook as well, our Facebook page, and we will let you know what we got and what the plans for the future are. We'll even start eventually as we start accumulating Patreon progress, our progress bars start to go. We just recently launched it not that long ago, and as those things start to progress, we will start putting up goals and plans for the future on how that's going to display. We'll put those on our Facebook page as well, and links to those things on Twitter and everywhere else that we can come up with. So that's it. Thanks for coming by. Thanks for checking out our video, and let me know what you think. You have a good one. Thanks.